see. I haven't done this on this one.
So why does nobody at the office?
It's just because COVID.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're only supposed to have so many people in the office at a time, right?
Oh, really?
I don't know that for sure. That's how it was, at least. It may not still be that way.
Like 50% capacity or
Something like that.
or something.
All right. Breakout rooms. This is all different. This is really different. I guess share would be it. Maybe not.
What are you trying to do?
Trying to share it to Facebook. Link. What are you doing?
Trying to figure it out. Can't you just take the link and just copy and paste it into your Facebook?
Typically, we do Facebook Live, so it's
Oh.
there's typically something right over here. What is all this? Well, maybe it just won't be on Facebook Live this time. Advanced sharing option, would that be it? Well, shucks.
Click more.
There's no way to put it on Facebook Live because it's different than it was before.
As long as it's on Zoom.
Yeah, it's on Zoom.
1,000 degrees.
Is there anything that says, are you in the controls? Can you find that anywhere?
Not on this screen, at least.
Is there like a more button or anything? Like bring up an additional set of.
Well, I mean, viewers on Facebook Live don't count anyway.
What's at the top left? Those little thingies.
That is an information button. And this, you are using enhanced encryption recording. Well, it's going to be okay. They should technically be on Zoom if they're not here in the office anyway. We'll figure it out.
As the owner or admin of the Zoom portal, you have to go to the account management and enable webinar settings to allow Facebook Live. I don't know if that's.
Do you mind reading that again? I'm sorry.
Just on Zoom's support page, they say if you're the owner, to go to your account management, which would be right through here, and just make sure that the webinar settings, wherever that may be just account settings. Recording.
It'll be okay.
What's this webinar? Maybe that takes us there? I don't know.
That's okay. It'll be fine. Just not.
I could get it figured out by the next time we do it.
All right.
Which Facebook Live do you post on? You guys posted a lot of different groups for this.
Yeah, so
There should be,
typically
like, two.
it's the group page that we post on. Yeah, I don't know how to get on Facebook Live at this
Okay.
point.
Okay. We'll just
But
it's recording it right now, so we'll
Yeah.
just post it there after.
okay.
Share screen. And we get to go.
It's just the green share button.
Okay. Just want to see who's in. I'm the only one. It'll show these people. Okay. I don't need this. What did I do? Got this. I need to go. This.
All right. Do you need anything else right now?
Nope, I'm all set.
Do you mind writing down the attendees?
I will. I certainly will.
You're the best.
Thanks, Rachel, for your
That's
help.
why you're the best.
We're getting there.
Do you do a CMA prior to a listing appointment? Or
So I'll give you some tips of what you can do.
Yeah.
I do. So first, your first goal is like when you're talking to anybody, is you need to make an appointment.
yeah, that's always one to get a meeting.
So you make the appointment, and then that's when you do your homework.
Yeah.
And then so you see a for sale by owner said they're asking 310. So I made the appointment. I said, well, if I can net you what you're looking to make using our services, will that interest you? Well, what does that mean? Well, I got to see the house. All right, so I make the appointment. I go over the house. Now we're going to talk about how we're going to pull up the property in the MLS, look at it up, and pull up some comps in the neighborhood, in the subdivision, and determine the price range. So you're really doing your comps after you make that appointment.
Initially.
And then, you can do it really when you're driving over there, when you pull up in the house, because what do you have? You have a Keller Williams app, you have a Zillow app, you have a Realtor.com app. So when you're in the cul-de-sac and you just pull up everything that's for sale, everything that's sold, after doing it a while, you can get an idea right here.
Quick. Yeah.
And you say, oh, that house on Main Street sold for $299. He's asking $310. Okay, maybe that's why he's asking $310. You're just kind of putting some things together. And I'll show you some of the work that that is pretty simple to do. Come up with a price range because the goal is to get the listing.
Right.
So if we can net you what you need to make after all expenses, that means you're selling the house after your first thing is your mortgage. The next thing is the commission to pay us, the state tax stamps, the way North Carolina gets a hold of the transaction, and the seller has to pay to prepare their deed. So all those expenses are determined what's their net. And that's we'll talk about that and determining price. And hey, if we price it or list it at this price, you'll probably be this many days on market, or this price, we can probably be quicker. What's more important to you, higher price or quicker sale? Or
the free pricing tactic, either looking for the haystack, or are you trying to sell right off the bat, or are you trying to be in the middle of the ground? I see what you're
what's your
saying.
motivation?
Yeah.
So we dig into that,
Cool.
and we'll get there, and then we'll and the whole goal is right to get the listing.
Yeah. Cool. Do you measure houses yourself, or do you always have a real estate appraiser do it?
You don't have to have an appraisal. You can measure them yourself. I have done that before. It was like a 1-bedroom or a 1-level ranch home, so it was easy. Length
You go
times
right on
width.
the outside.
Yeah, length times width. So that was pretty simple. So it kind of depends. A lot of photographers will also do the measuring as well.
Oh, wow.
So let's kind of use those references and those. Good. We got a bunch of people signing on.
Sign on to it.
No.
Okay.
Back. 1 minute. Hey, Mac, how you doing? Good morning.
Hey Rob, how are you?
Doing great. All right, it's 10 o'clock. Good to see everybody here. Our provisional broker meeting here for the month of July. So just a quick update. Things have been going pretty well here in the office. I know we're expecting to hear another message from the governor today and by the end of this week. So just a friendly reminder, anytime that we're showing properties, make sure that you do have your mask, still having your realtor kit, that you have your hand sanitizer, and bring some wipes down so you can wipe down handles and countertops and stuff like that. So still keep those safety precautions in play when you are showing property. Try and keep that social distance around. If you can drive to the property yourself, we prefer to do that as well, and have your buyers drive by themselves and meet you at the property. Same with children at the property. Still best not to have children present, just for extra safety precautions. All right, so today, provisional broker meeting, we have a handful of people that are brand new. So the way that we run our provisional broker meetings is we keep it pretty light. I want everybody to share a win that they've had, something that they've done over the past 2 weeks. So we're kind of just all in the same boat of lead generating, trying to get appointments, trying to get into production as fast as we possibly can. So just an introduction, my name is Rob Pettit. I'm the broker in charge. My job is to have active and direct supervision over all the files. Now, if you ever come across a problem or an error, whether you're meeting with a client, whether you have a listing or a buyer or with another realtor, please notify me immediately. Usually some of those items are just because about a miscommunication or they didn't understand something, you need to get more clarification. So if you notify me, I can intervene. My job will be to investigate and to remedy the situation so we can get the buyers and sellers to a closing. All right, so we're going to go around. We're going to start. Mac, if you can start us off, can you share a win that you've had with us over the past 2 weeks?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had, I guess, let's see, today's Monday. So Friday afternoon, I had an appointment with a seller, and I'm going to be listing his house in probably about 3 weeks. So pretty exciting. That's my first, I guess my first listing side.
All right. Now, how did this gentleman, or how did you get in contact with him?
So I was at an estate auction on, I guess, the Saturday prior, and I was having some conversation with some people, and they said that their son was getting ready to sell his house, and I gave out my information, and so
Right. Okay. So just from networking and having the conversation. Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, Pam. Hi. Can you share with us a win that you've had over the past 2 weeks?
Sure. Good morning. I would say probably I've had experiences with opportunity to refer to some different regions. So
Right.
I was just in California, and so I'm working to contact the Santa Rosa office like you had suggested. And then I have a friend in Boone, a friend locally who wants to purchase in Boone. And originally I thought about maybe trying to take that type of a, opportunity myself, but I think it's just better off right now to refer that out to somebody.
Yeah,
So,
Pam, good decision. Okay, well, great.
Yeah.
Right. We had the conversation. I actually just did that same step with Madison and Logan here who are in the class.
Yeah.
And we were looking over referrals. We went in this area. And so Pam had one in California and out in Santa Rosa. So that's awesome. So she's working through that. So again, the same with the one in Boone. That's a couple hours away. Let somebody else who knows that area get the closing, and you get a check here in a couple months after still focusing on your business and growing your business.
Yeah. So very exciting. Thank
Good.
you.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Pam. All right, Diego, how are you, sir? Can you share something that you've been doing over the past 2 weeks? What's a win?
Hey, Rob. Good morning. I have been taking my post-licensing classes. I just took one last Thursday, Friday, and then this next Thursday, Friday is the last two classes for this post-licensing, and then I'm done with post-licensing 303, but I've taken them in a random order.
Right, it doesn't matter.
Because the school that I chose, they have one in July, one in August, and one in September, which is perfect because that's my 18-month that expires in September. So I'm trying to I got all those lined up to be done by September 14th. So I'll have that 2 week to get everything sent over to the real estate commission. So I'm just trying to get all that PB stuff out of the way to be done with that.
All right, Diego, good. Yeah, absolutely. That's a win. You got the time now to do it, so you're getting your online training. So good.
Yep. And it's nice because whoever hasn't taken any post-licensing, if you're doing post-licensing online over Zoom calls, they waived the exam for the class. So it's very easy to take it right now. You pay for it, you take it, you just have to block out the time, but you don't have to take the exam at the end of the class. So it's a real quick and easy thing.
Thank you. Yeah, good note. I know there has been a handful of people have been getting the notifications from the commission for people that are clearing the provisional off their broker. So good. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, definitely get that training done now that you can.
Yep.
All right. Hey, Tom, how are you doing? I know you're not a provisional broker, but why don't you share a win with us over the past 2 weeks that you had?
Hey, Rob. Yeah, well, we closed the listing in Denver last week and was grateful for that, and got a couple of buyer clients that I'm working with right now that are really kicking my rear end because one of them we've written 4 offers, been in multiples on all of them, and lost out on every one of them. So we're still working to get them under contract on something.
Really? Okay. All right. Yeah, all right. Well, that's good to know. Yeah, certainly is the challenging market. The good thing I'm hearing out of that is, you're still writing the offer. So maybe we can pick up a couple of topics here today to set your buyers expectations from the front. So good. Thank you for sharing that, Tom. Kelly, how are you feeling? Are you hydrated? You drink a lot of water? Share a win with us.
Feeling way better. Thanks, Rob. Last couple of weeks has been good. Made a contact towards the beginning of July. And this gentleman has a couple of investment properties that he is looking to potentially list. He's under contract right now, but those expire within the next 10 to 15 days.
Okay.
So we've had dialogue, twice a week last week. And then this week we've already spoke as well. Wants to be able to work together. So just kind of, continuing to work with that lead to where, the plan would be to get 2 listings out of it. So definitely some nice progress over the last couple of weeks.
Good. And that's an investor seller. Is that what you said?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So he's really numbers driven. I'm sure he's really driven about what he's going to net. What's he going to be walking away with? What's the net? How do you determine the net? The sale price minus all your expenses. So good. Okay, good. I hope you get those 2 listings. Keep chasing them. You just got to keep calling them nice and early. Keep bugging them. You're not bugging them. You're chasing them. You got to get those listings. All right, great. All right, we're going to move on here. Now we have Lottie. How are you, Lottie? Can you share a win with us that you've had over the past couple of weeks?
Hi, yes. My biggest win is that I have my first listing now. And
Yes.
this client, she's going to be purchasing as well. So the next couple months will hopefully be very profitable for me.
Yeah, fantastic. I saw that listing. It looks really nice. Now, who did you have do the professional photos on that?
So my fiance is actually a photographer, so he hooked me up.
Right on. Hey, that's a good connection. And then who
yeah.
did you have measure the house?
His name was Paul, and I found him online through a company, and he was very nice, very efficient.
How much did he charge you?
It was around $50.
$50. Okay, fair enough. Awesome. Well, congratulations. Now, how many showings have you had on the listing so far?
So we listed, we went live on Friday, I think, and we've had 2 bites so far. We've actually got one this morning at 10:15, but we just started showing today because I was out of town on the weekend, so we decided to wait until this week.
All right, awesome. Well, cool. Good to hear. That's a good listing too. I've seen it everywhere, so good. Hopefully, get an offer here.
Thank you.
All right, Lindsay, how are you? Can you share a win with us that you've had?
Yeah, I'm doing good. My cousin and her husband, they're actually buying land, so they're getting pre-approved with the bank, making an appointment with them this week, and they said they're going to sign with me right after that. So and start looking for them.
All right. What part of the state are they looking? Where are they looking?
They're looking like Iron Station area, maybe something on the water up here at Lake Norman, Denver area. So.
And how big of a land? How much space do they want?
They said up to 3 acres is probably good enough for them. They're gonna build their own thing, so.
You're gonna build. Okay, cool. Right on. Good. So you got some hunting to do to find some of those lots. Well, cool. Good. That's always good
Yep.
you're gonna learn. Now you can. I would suggest stay involved too when they start building the property, so you can kind of underlearn some of the new construction lingo and stuff, and that's good. Okay, we're gonna move on. Let's see who hasn't shared yet. I think we grabbed everyone here. We have. Did I miss anybody else?
Good morning, Rob. It's Kyle.
Kyle. Okay, it just says iPhone. Here we go. Hi, Kyle. How are you?
I'm doing well. How's everybody doing?
Doing excellent. Hi. How's fatherhood treating you?
It's challenging. Come to find out, it's super challenging but very rewarding.
Awesome. Well, that's really good. Good. Keep up the good work. I know it certainly is challenging, but hey, you're a dad. Dad
Yeah,
too, right?
It's amazing. That's for sure. Yes, sir.
All right. So, Kyle, can you share a win that you've had with us over the past couple of weeks, please?
Yeah, I actually had a contact which has turned into a lead through one of our lead resources that we have through Boomtown,
Right.
which is pretty exciting. So, made the call and made the follow-up call, and it looks like she's looking to move sometime in September and October, and also has a home to sell in Tennessee. So went ahead and started kind of planting some seeds to her to let her know that I have resources outside of North Carolina that I can hook her up with, finding her a really good agent in Tennessee to list her home, and then also got her set up with the portal on the MLS so she can start viewing homes that she likes.
Awesome. Yeah, that certainly is a win, Kyle. Get that referral check down the road and help her out buying a house here. So cool. We have Boomtown. That's just another program as Kyle's on a team, and that's just a marketing program that it goes out and he gets the internet leads and different sources that come in, and Kyle is just working all those leads, and it seems like he converted one into a buyer. So excellent. Fantastic. All right. So we have Madison and Logan here in the training room. They can hear you guys. You guys have only been here a very short time, but what's a win that you could share? I mean, maybe setting up your business or setting up some of your profiles. What's something that you can share with us?
Well, I've actually had some success just being on Facebook groups and getting the word out there that I do real estate now.
Right.
I've only been there for a week. I've actually had a few people reach out to me. I'm meeting with one girl this week to discuss. She's buying a house later on, probably like 2 months down the road, but
Right.
I'm definitely going to keep in touch and get that relationship moving. So that's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, we set a referral appointment over in Detroit, Michigan. The seller is going to try to sell it themselves for the first 2 weeks. However, if that doesn't go according to plan, which as statistics show likely won't, then
Right.
They're going to go with the agent we recommended, who happened to be the #1 in all of Michigan. So,
The Keller Williams agent.
Jeff Lover, actually.
Jeff. Awesome. Oh yeah, Jeff. Oh, of course. Hope they go with him.
And then we're just setting up what we can on our, for our business, trying to get our website put together and all those things.
Doing the beginning steps. Awesome. That's certainly a win. And as we were just talking before, you're not in MLS yet. You really, you kind of have that extra barrier, but you're doing the right tactics. You're having the conversations. That's the most important thing. You're asking me the questions, about pocket listings and stuff like that. That's just stuff that you're going to learn from conversations, being out in the field and going on appointments as much as possible. So what I'm going to share a win that we've had. 3 months ago, we had a letter that came in from the Real Estate Commission with a complaint for a deal that happened in 2017. So the buyer had a complaint to the commission that she went to sell her house, and the house she thought was a 4-bedroom, and it's not. It was a 3-bedroom. So we had to prove. Now, this was not when I was the buyer, the broker in charge. However, I'm still responsible for keeping all of our records for 3 years. So I still had to respond. The buyer's agent is still an agent here in Keller Williams, and the listing agent is actually no longer with our company. So all 3 of us had to reply our response. And since we kept all the records, we were able to prove that our buyer's agent justified that that buyer knew she was buying a 3-bedroom property because that is what the septic permit says. Septic permit in North Carolina states 3 bedrooms. That's what you have to market the property as. If you have connected to the city sewer, well, that's something different. That's something else that we'll have to talk about. But septic permits require the number of bedrooms. So we were able to prove that the buyer did have an inspection report and signed off that the septic tank was only for 3 bedrooms. So even though when she claimed 3 years later that, oh, I didn't know it was a 3-bedroom, I always bought a 4-bedroom, we were able to prove that she knew and we did not get in trouble. So that's a win for our company and myself that so it just actually went back and they went to the listing agent who's no longer with our company, reminding her that she didn't get in trouble either, but she did kind of get scolded, saying you can only list properties what the septic permit states as the number of bedrooms. So always keep that in mind. I'm going to be mentioning that next meeting as well. And I do have a septic permit disclosure that we're going to be adding. So this is just to cover us. So you're making sure you know, is it septic? Is it city? How many bedrooms? This and that. And we'll talk about that. All right. Does anybody have any questions right now? All right. So today what we're going to talk about is we're going to discuss doing a market analysis and determining a price range, determining the average days on market, determining the sale price to list price ratio, and also getting an average price per square foot. So, of course, the first thing that we need to do is we have leads. And I'm kind of just going slow here, but it's because I just went on Zillow and I put in the zip code of 28115. And so now this property came up on Elizabeth Hearth Road for $310. And this is on Zillow. This is as a for sale by owner. These people are listing their property. They're trying to sell it. What's this here? Okay, so these people are trying to sell it at $310. Okay, so as a for sale by owner, I know that they're not, I double checked the MLS and they're not listed in the MLS. Looked in the MLS, nothing is active on the MLS. So, and they are in Zillow. Okay, so I found them here in Zillow. We called them up. I said my script, or what I say to all for sale by owners. Hi, I'm calling about your home on Elizabeth Hearth Road. Is that property still available? And are you asking $310? And they say, yes, it is. My name is Rob Pettit with Keller Williams. And if I can net you what you're looking to make using our services, would that interest you? My goal right now is to make an appointment. How are you going to do that? Well, I can come by tomorrow, which is Wednesday at 2 p.m. Does that time work for you? And I'll be fully prepared. Well, they might ask you questions. And my goal, again, is to make an appointment. So let's say I made an appointment for this home tomorrow at 2 p.m., 132 Elizabeth Hearth Road in Mooresville. They're asking $310. All right? So here's our property. What's the first thing that I need to do now? Well, I'm going to drive by the home and take a picture. Now I have a picture of what the house looks like on my phone. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be able to just kind of do some quick spying. I want to be able to print out the tax assessor's record from the town hall. I want to be able to, when I drive by the house, use my Keller Williams app to see what else is for sale, see what else is sold. So I'm using the GPS on my phone to figure that out. Once I do that, now I'm going back to the office. I go back to the office here. Now I'm going to do my quick search. I want to search for properties that are within this subject property, the one on Elizabeth Hearth Road, the subdivision. And so when I went over there, I saw that this property is in the Harris Village subdivision. All right, let me just show you one other thing. This is the tax assessor's record that I printed out. So this is from the MLS. So it's the it's a public record. When we looked at it on the MLS, I'll show you how to get there how to get there, but it's from the MLS. So this is all the public information. And I noticed that right here, as you can see, the subdivision says Harris Village. So I have this printout, and I drove by, took a picture. Now I'm back at the office. I pulled up all the properties that are active, coming soon, under contract, no show, and which ones have closed in the past 180 days. That's 6 months. Look on the bottom, there's 8 results. These are all from Harris Village. I'm going to look at all my results. There's my results right there. So now listen, I've had a lot of people say, well, they're asking 310. How do I know if it's worth 310? Or how do I know how much I can net them? Or how do I know, what if I have to increase the sale price to cover my commission? How do I do that? All right, no problem. What we're going to do is, once we made that appointment, now we're doing our homework, and now we're doing some spying. Once we have these comps and we have an idea, or we can break them down and eliminate some of these comps. I've had questions say, how many comps do I need? Well, you need at least a minimum of 3, so you can get at least an average. I've had people use up to 5, 6, 7, depending on what the comps are and how close they are to the neighborhood. That's how many comps you can use. So in this case, if we look in the past 6 months, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 properties that have closed. One other thing I just want to talk about here. So this guy's asking 310. On my appointment, I'm going to ask him, say, how did you arrive at your asking price? You know, you're asking 310. I said, if I can net you what you need to make using our services, if that would interest you. Now you're asking 310. How did you arrive at that? And listen to what they say. Some people are kind of just saying, I like that number. I need that much money. I need to sell it for that. But still, they haven't determined what their net is. So when we're going over there, we're going to be able to give them a price range and justify that price range from a low to a high. And I can tell you that I'm not going to be able to know if I'm in the low range or the high range until I actually see the inside of the house. Because I've gone on to some houses and I've seen some properties that have, like 10 or 11 cats, and it doesn't smell the best. And some places that really need paint, or the carpet needs updating. I've also gone to some houses in maybe not the best neighborhoods, but they have all granite. They have all fresh, shiny hardwood floors, and the house is super updated. So that might be on the higher side. So I'm always able to give a price range based on low to high, depending on the condition, which I can't tell until I actually see the inside of the property. Now, a few other things is, now what if someone's going to say, well, what if the property doesn't appraise at that value? You know what an appraisal is? An opinion of value. If you have an appraiser go to a property and appraise the property, and then you hire a totally separate appraiser, they could come back with 2 different values because it's an opinion of value. Now, I know that all appraisers, for the most part, what they'll do is they'll get an average price per square foot, and then they make pluses and minuses based on what the property has to offer. Does it have a pool? Does it have an extra garage? Is it in a cul-de-sac? Does it have brick front? I mean, those are all the types of upgrades, pluses and minuses that appraisers give. But then I know that if you get an average price per square foot, you can make your adjustments that way. So when I go to meter for sale by owner, that's how I as well discuss with them price per square foot, and then make pluses and minuses going that way. So, okay, so just back into it. Does anybody have any questions right now? Can't see anybody's face. Let me go back over here. We good? Is everybody good? Okay, everybody's on mute, so I guess we're good. Okay, so we have these number of properties. So I downloaded them right here, and I want to show you what I'm doing with this. So I have the tax records. This is some of the items that I'm looking at. I wanted to see how big the lot is, the size of the lot. I want to see the building square footage. So according to the town hall, it has 2923 square feet. Now, it was previously marketed in the MLS at 3126. So why is there a discrepancy there? Well, because the tax records aren't necessarily 100%. Now, am I going to be able to tell with the naked eye when I go over there a difference of like 180 square feet? Probably not. And I looked on the record. It's like they said they have 1,553 square feet downstairs, and then reality it's like 1,590, and then upstairs instead of 1,370, it was like 15 something. I wouldn't know that until I get the house measured. So all I can do is based on what the city hall says. So my numbers, when I'm doing my comps, I would base it on 2923. And if the seller says, oh, wait, no, it's 3126. I got the house measured 6 months ago. Here you go. What number now can I base the house on? What square footage? The bigger one, right? Whatever I have, whatever report I have to justify. The tax records, that doesn't mean it's right. It's what report I have. So that's how you know for sure what the square footage is. But right now I can only go by what the town hall says. Same with number of bedrooms and bathrooms. If it says 4 bedrooms and 3 baths. Well, I have to find out if it's on a septic so I can make sure that that's correct. But that's what the town hall says. And then a few other things I just want to look. They have an estimated value there of 375. Now that's just a big range of 330 to 420. I don't know how they came up with that, but it's just an indicator I want to look at. And then one other thing is I want to see the sale date and when it was recorded in the mortgage history. This is all public records. Mortgage history, this home closed in 2015 when it was recorded. 2013 and 2015. You look right here, there's no mortgage recorded in 2015. So these people could have paid cash. That's a question I don't. Fine. Okay. So I pulled up these comps. We had those 6 comps. They're all in the neighborhood. My listing, this listing on Elizabeth Hearth has 2,900 plus square feet. Okay. So the first comps I want to look at are the ones that are closed. So I talk about what the closed comps are so I can determine that price first because that's the market value, right? So that's what the value is today. Does the market change every 6 months, every 3 months? Yeah, usually. So what the house is worth today doesn't mean that's what the house is worth in 6 months. So when I say, Mr. Seller, how did you arrive at 310? And they say, well, that guy across the street sold for 312 2 years ago. It's not a comp. It doesn't matter. Okay, great. I'm not going to correct them right there. I just want to hear how they arrive at that price. So now I have these 6 comps. Let's determine the numbers that we talked about. I want to know average price per square foot for properties that sold in the last 6 months in Harris Village. I want to know the list price to sale price ratio, and I want to know the days on market. So first comp, how do I determine average price per square foot? I take the sale price divided by above grade living area. So I already did the homework for us, 297,500 divided by 2658 takes me to $111 a square foot. To determine the list price to sale price ratio, that's the sale price divided by the list price. That gives you a percentage as to what it sold. And so this property sold for 99% of its list price. 297,500 is 99% of 299,900. And then on the bottom of your MLS sheet where it says DOM, DOM is days on market, 5 days on the market. Pretty quick, huh? Next comparable. One thing I want to notice, look at this comp that has 2658. How many square footage does my listing have? 29 something, right? So that's pretty dang close. I want to pull all the comps in Harris Village. I can pick and choose if I want. If I want to say that I think this house is worth a little bit higher, I'll use the higher comps. If I think it's worth a little bit lower, I'll use the lower comps. I have 6 of them to choose from. I'm gonna eliminate 2 right off the bat because I'm gonna show you why. Because when I drove by, I did some quick spying, and we're gonna see why. You see in my notes. But this is a great comp to use. $111 a square foot, right? Awesome. That's a good comparable to use. Next one in the neighborhood. This one, 2707 square feet. Okay. $289,900. It sold for 96% of the list price. It was listed at $299,900, sold $289,900. That's 96%. Price per square foot, I didn't write on this, but is $106. So 289 divided by 2707 is $106 a square foot. And this one was on for 3 days. Days on market, 3 days. Last comparable that we use right here, or another one. This one, 2669. Sold, listed 295, sold 294. That's 99% and $110 a square foot. And the one thing I want to note here is this is DOM for 171. Okay? Because I've been doing this for a while, I've made a couple of appointments in Harris Village. I've seen this listing for a while. So even though it says it listed at 295, I've done other appointments in Harris Village because I've tried to make an appointment a day. I know this house was listed at 309 at the beginning of their listing. So are these numbers a little bit skewed? A little bit. Did they really get 99% of their, I mean, according to this right here, yes. But because I've done homework and I've also been going on appointments for a while, I know that they were asking at a higher number. So the only thing that now look at it. They sold for $110 at 99% of their sale price because they have a good list price. So that's a good conversation that you can have with that buyer. It's still a good comp though. The only thing that is messing me up on here, oops.
That did not show a price reduction from that original 310 that you're talking
Yeah, it
about.
would. So when I did my preliminary homework, it would show that.
Oh, cool.
But when I'm meeting with this for sale by owner, I'm not showing them that. I'm just
Yeah.
kind of having that conversation,
Yeah.
looking like I'm the neighborhood expert saying, you know, this one's a little bit skewed because I've done my research and I've known that this and this, that. Now, if you didn't do any of that research and you said, well, this house sold for $110 a square foot at $99, 99%, does that matter? Not really, because it did.
Yeah.
When it listed at 295, it sold at 294. They should have done that 170 days ago,
No kidding.
right? But I also know the situation in this property, and it's just things that happen in life, right? People are born, people die, people get married, people get divorced, people move away for jobs, and that was that situation, that one of those 10 situations that happen no matter what. So that's why when I say you can take a listing no matter what, because things change every single month. There's no such thing as a bad listing. At 309, was this an overpriced listing? Yeah. Would you still take it? I would. And then finally, 170 days later, the smallest out of the comps. Now I already have 3 comps that are pretty much the same: 111, 106, and 110. Do I need more comps? Well, let me look at this one. 269 divided by that square foot, that's $135 a square foot. That's a lot higher than the other ones. Why is it higher? Well, because it has a smaller living area. People want to move into this neighborhood. If I needed to use this comp, could I? Probably, if I wanted to justify a higher price. But in this case, I'm not going to, because I have 3 comps that are good. Next comp I wanted to show, out of those 6, this one. Wow, this is 2,500 square feet. Why is it for $355? Like, they have an amazing pool. So I did the math. If you did the math at $111 a square foot, that's roughly like an $80,000 pool based on these numbers if it's sold for that. How would I know that? I know the neighborhood. I looked at the comps. I saw that. So I'm eliminating it because I don't have a pool. Same with this house here. 392, 500, 38. Wow, that's awesome. Big, huge house. They have a big, amazing pool. Eliminated. So when things stick out like that, that's why. So then now just one other thing I want to look at. So this is active. We won't talk about that yet. So now let's determine what's our average price per square foot. And I did the math for us here. Average price per square foot is 109. I just took all 3 of those square foots and divided by 3. Add them up, divided by 3. Average list price to sale price ratio is 98%. Average days on market is 59, but that's a little skewed because of that one that was for 171. But what is the average days on market? 59, right? It's what it is. You want to price it and get 5 days on market? Well, this is where we need to price it. If you want to get a little bit, you can. That's where you have your conversations. Not all the numbers are going to be accurate there, or like that days on market is a little bit skewed. But if you do your homework and you're kind of just doing a little bit more research, that's how you learn some of these things. So now, how am I going to determine my price? I'm going to talk to this now. When I go on my listing appointment with the seller, I have, how am I going to determine this for sale by owners price? Anybody want to share? Anybody have any ideas of what price range we can come up with this guy?
You're going to take the square footage and multiply it by the average square footage that you've got.
Boom, exactly. Exactly. And we're going to go by the square footage that he has from the town hall, because that's the only thing that we can justify right now.
Unless he had it measured or whatever.
Unless he did. So, but now look at this. Watch this. So we're going to base on 229.23. That's a square footage times our average of 109, a price per square foot. Came up to 318,607. What is this guy asking? 310. Do you think maybe you can net this guy what he's maybe yes, maybe no? That's what I'm talking about for sale by owners don't know. When I go to that appointment, what price range would I give him? I usually give a $10,000 price range. Okay? When you're searching on the computer or you're searching on your apps, how is it that you can search? And how are you able to separate? Right, and it's usually $25,000 increments, right? You can search from 2 to 225, 225 to 250. So if I list something at 325, or if I list something at 314, am I still coming in the same range? If I list yes, you are. You're coming in from 3 to 325, right? You're in the same range. So if this guy says, well, I'm not going to list it at 318, no problem, sir. What's listed at 323? Is that okay? When numbers will work there, guess what? You're still in that range. Would you take a listing a little bit higher than that? I absolutely would. So I always get now. So this guy's asking 310. I'm going on this appointment. I'm bringing these 3 comps. I'm saying, Mr. Seller, these average price about 109 based on your square footage comes up to 318. My recommendation for you, and based on if I do these materials, I'm going to get it measured. I'm going to get it professional photography. I'm going to do videos, an open house, lead generating on Facebook ads. I think we could list your home at 319 and do with a net number on that. And how do I arrive at 319? Based on these comps, an average price is 109, average list price to sale price ratio, and we should expect to sell this property in less than 59 days. Let's go ahead and get the home on the property on the market. You only pay me when I get a seller and get a buyer and generate an offer, and I get paid at closing. What does the seller have to lose? Now, what if they say, well, what if it doesn't appraise? Here's my story. I called it for sale by owner. They are asking $225. I said, if I can net you what you're looking to make using our services, would that interest you? Let me do the stop share for a second. They said, well, here's my situation. Just had the property under contract at $225 with an FHA buyer. Does everyone understand an FHA? Very first time home buyer. The FHA appraisal came in at $220. And the seller wasn't going to accept that, and the buyer couldn't go any higher. Okay. So now the same seller says, well, I'm only selling if I get $225. But now there's an FHA appraisal locked in for 6 months. I said, okay, no problem. Did you happen to meet the appraiser or talk to the appraiser for the FHA? No, I just let them come do their thing. I said, okay, no problem. I ran my comps. I said, I can justify selling this for $225. Listed at $225, but I had to eliminate FHA buyers. I got a conventional buyer at $225. I met the appraiser at the property. As a listing agent, you have the right to meet the appraiser at the property, which you should always do. And I said, hi, Mr. Appraiser. Here are the comps that we use to justify our price at $225. Here's a list of the upgrades the seller has done. And they put in like blinds and they did something else fancy. And I just pointed out 3 or 4 things, said, this is how we arrived at our price. And we have an agreed upon price buyer and seller at 225. It appraised at 225 because I justified the value. I said, these are the comps we're using. This is how we arrived, price per square foot. These are the upgrades. And I also have a buyer and seller that agreed upon the price. So the price of a house, how do you determine what the price of a house is worth? What a buyer is willing to pay and what a seller is willing to accept. That's what the house is worth. And then can I justify it with the bank, the appraisals and stuff like that? Sure. But if a buyer wants to live in a house and they're willing to pay an extra $10,000 because it's in the neighborhood and it's 4 blocks away from their church and that's the most important to them, who's someone to say that that's not value in there? Of course there's value in there. That's the buyer's value for that. I want to live in this neighborhood because of whatever reason it is. So if you can justify that, price per square foot, listing price to sale price ratio, average days on market. Now, of course, now you have to determine your net. So, Mr. Seller, I said that if I can net you what you're looking to make using our services, if that would interest you. And so now I think I can sell your home for $319. What's the balance you owe on your mortgage? And since I already did a little bit of homework and there's nothing recorded, see what most likely they'll tell me. And then I do the sale price minus whatever the balance they owe on their mortgage, minus my commission, 6%, minus state tax stamps, and minus the seller deed prep. I can determine what their net is based on a possible sale price. So, Mr. Seller, let's go ahead now. Of course, if someone makes an offer and they want us to include buyer closing costs, or if they want us to include the home warranty, we'll add those into our expenses. And as long as they're paying high enough sale price, and we'll go through all those expenses, and as long as you're netting what you need to net, Mr. Seller, we can accept this offer. If not, well, then we have to continue to market it and see if we can generate a higher offer and continue to move forward.
So that was sales price minus mortgage minus your commission of 6%, and then minus
state tax stamps. That's the way that North Carolina. Yep, the way that North Carolina gets a hold of the transaction. So it's $2 per 1,000, or the sale price divided by 500. And then their seller closing costs. Right now, if the seller went to sell their house and just point blank, they would have to pay the attorney $450 to prepare their deed. That's it. All the other closing costs are paid for by the buyer. Title insurance, all the appraisals, recording, all that type of stuff. The seller has those 4. Mortgage payoff, commission, state tax stamps, and seller deed preparation. And then, of course, there's other things. I mean, if there's an HOA or taxes, but all those numbers are accounted for in their mortgage, or they're in specific situations and not for every property. But those 4 things are for every property: mortgage, commission, state tax stamps, and deed prep.
That's the closing, the deed prep, closing costs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, who's got some questions? Yes.
For comps, if you are, let's say, short on comps in the area and you had those pools, would you be better off going further back than 6 months, or taking the property with the pool into account and subtracting the pool out of the equation?
Good question. Both. I would probably prefer to have a property without the pool. Well, I did the math and I kind of realized that that's about an 80 grand pool. So if you did the math, like at 111 a square foot, you can do it that way. I'm kind of working backwards. I might have extended it maybe 7 months, 8 months, so you can get an idea. Right. Also, if it's not in a subdivision, I've gone a little bit wider range. So in this subdivision, or there was a subdivision across the street, if you needed to, so if I have 0 comps, well, then you have to stretch out, or you have to make some adjustments here or there. And as long as I can explain that and justify that, that's not a problem. Totally allowed. Just be able to justify where you're coming at, because that's what appraisers do. They know that the house is worth, we have an agreement at 225. Appraisers don't want to blow the deal up and say, I'm going to do what I can to do to get it to come in at 223. No, they're going to say, what do I need to do to get it in at 225? And they look at all the comps. And for the most part, look at that. I mean, we had one that sold at 111 a square foot, 106 and 110. So that's different ranges. So let's see, what did we say? 29, 32, times 111. So that could go up to like the 325. If they sold it at 206, the 106, that takes you down to 310. So you have a $15,000 range that you can give and justify based on the high or the low. If you go in the house as a wreck, well, you might be closer to the 106. If you go in the house is super awesome, might be 111. Could you maybe justify 112? Maybe, right? Okay. Everybody's still on mute. How are we doing? I've talked a lot. Thumbs up. Everyone's doing good. Smiling.
Doing good.
Doing good.
Hey, Rob, I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
My fiance's mom has a condo in Florida, and she bought it 3.5 years ago for $195. But it's like in a golf course, so there's only about 12 units in her condo.
Okay.
There's not a lot of comps. There's only 2 houses that have sold in the last like 3 years. There are 2 condos that have sold there. How would you go about doing that? Would you look at her price and then see appreciation in the area and try to go off that and what she's put into it and how nice it is compared to the houses? Or if there's not enough comps in the last 6 months, how would you go about that, or the last year?
Yeah, that's really, those are tough. What I would probably have to do there is try to find another comparable subdivision. So you're in Florida, they might have to go outside of the area.
Gotcha.
And it's as long as the community had similar amenities as this one, maybe close square footage, or if it has an elevator or a pool or a spa or whatever location where it's at, I would imagine an appraiser would be able to use another type of subdivision. Because, right,
Gotcha.
I mean, you don't have a comp in the past 2-3 years because I would look at both, though. So try and find another community as close as possible, but also you would have to do a little bit more math with that, determining, okay, in the past such and such years, or 2 years ago, price per square foot was this. Now price per square foot is roughing average up this. So, I mean, it's tough to look at that over a 3-year comps, but you could
Gotcha.
do it that way as well.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
All right, who's going to be calling this person on Elizabeth Hearth Road? Because remember, our goal, what's your number one goal whenever we're lead generating? Make the appointment, right? Now, I don't know if I can net this guy. He's asking 310. I don't know if I can net him what he needs to make. I don't know. I mean, maybe I can, maybe I can't. I'm not soliciting for business. I said, if I can net you what you're looking to make using our services, would that interest you? And if you say no to that, you didn't understand what I said, because everybody knows what net means, right? What are you going to be taking when you walk away with at the closing? That's as simple as all I'm saying. If I can net you what you need to make using my services, would that interest you? And let me come by the house tomorrow at 2:00. Be specific. That's why you have take control of your calendar and go on that appointment. Now you go on that appointment, you go over those numbers, you say, I'm going to hire a photographer, I'm going to get it measured, I'm going to do this and that. Let's go ahead and list the property for 3 months. And if I don't get it sold, you owe me nothing. Let's sign the paperwork today, and I'll call the photographer now. These sellers, these for sale by owners have nothing to lose. So let's determine their motivation based on how fast they want to sell, how much money they need, where they're going to go. Let's put all the pieces together and say, we're there to help you sell your house, net what you need to net so you can move on and go to the next step of your life. All right, how are we doing? Anybody have any other questions? Okay, well, I'll just leave it open up here for any question and answer. If not, we have the office meeting is coming up here at 11, and PJ is going to be running that here. So actually, one thing I just wanted to say, next week, I will be away on vacation. So we have Sherry Wooten, who's the broker in charge out of Huntersville, and PJ are going to be the backup broker in charge here for the office. So just keep that in mind. All right, if nobody has any questions, we have about 10 minutes, so see you guys at the office meeting. Thanks for showing up, everybody.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.